Have you ever asked yourself why some people seem to move forward in life while others stay in the same place for years? Is it talent? Is it money? Or is it something much simpler? Emma asked herself that question almost every day. She was 26 years old. She worked in a small coffee shop in a quiet neighborhood. Every morning she arrived early. She cleaned the tables. She prepared fresh coffee. She greeted every customer with a smile. Most people thought she was happy, but inside, she felt worried. She wanted a better life. She wanted to travel. She wanted to speak English fluently. She wanted a better job. But she didn't know where to begin. One rainy Tuesday morning, the coffee shop was almost empty. Soft piano music played in the background. The smell of fresh coffee filled the room. Emma looked through the window. People were walking quickly under their umbrellas. Then the door opened. A tall elderly man walked inside. He wore a simple brown coat. He carried an old leather bag and a small book. Emma smiled. "Good morning, Mr. Robert." The old man smiled back. "Good morning, Emma." "The usual coffee?" "Yes, please." Emma prepared his coffee carefully. She knew exactly how he liked it. No sugar. A little milk. Extra hot. She placed the cup on his favorite table near the window. Mr. Robert thanked her. He looked at Emma for a few seconds. "You don't look happy today." Emma tried to smile. "I'm fine." Mr. Robert smiled gently. "No. You are pretending." Emma looked surprised. "How do you know?" Mr. Robert laughed softly. "Because I used to do exactly the same thing." Emma sat down for a moment. "There are no customers right now." Mr. Robert nodded. "Then tell me, what is on your mind?" Emma looked at her hands. She hesitated. Finally she spoke. "I feel like I'm wasting my life." Mr. Robert didn't interrupt. He simply listened. Emma continued. "I work every day. I pay my bills. But every year feels exactly the same. I don't feel like I'm growing." Mr. Robert slowly nodded. "I understand." Emma sighed. "I want to study. I want to learn English. I want a better future. But every night, I'm too tired." Mr. Robert smiled kindly. "Emma." "Yes." "Can I ask you a question?" "Of course." "If someone offered you $1 million," Emma laughed, "I would say yes." Mr. Robert laughed too. "But there is one condition." "What condition?" "You must stop learning forever." Emma stopped smiling. "What do you mean?" "You can never read another book. You can never learn another language. You can never improve yourself. You will have the money, but you will always be the same person." Emma became quiet. She thought for a long moment. Finally she answered, "No, I wouldn't accept." Mr. Robert smiled. "Do you know why?" Emma shook her head. Because deep inside, you already understand something very important. Emma looked curious. What is it? Mr. Robert picked up his coffee. He looked outside. Then he said very slowly, "The most valuable thing you can own is not money. It is the ability to learn." Emma looked at him. She had never thought about it that way. Mr. Robert smiled. "And that's exactly why I started learning English." Emma leaned forward. "You?" "Yes. But not when I was young. I started much later." Emma looked surprised. "Really?" Mr. Robert nodded. "I was 53 years old." Emma opened her eyes wide. 53? Yes. And that decision changed my entire life. Emma whispered, "I want to know that story." Mr. Robert smiled. "I'll tell you. But first, you need to understand why I waited so long." Emma looked at Mr. Robert with curiosity. 53. Mr. Robert smiled. "Yes. I was 53 years old." Emma shook her head. "I thought people usually learned English when they were young." "Many people do. But many people don't. And that's perfectly okay." Emma leaned forward. "So, what happened?" Mr. Robert took a sip of his coffee. "When I was young, I had many dreams. I wanted to travel. I wanted to meet people from different countries. I wanted to have a better job." Emma smiled. "That sounds like me." Mr. Robert laughed softly. "Yes. It sounds like many people. But I always told myself, I'll start next year." Emma nodded. "I've said that too." Mr. Robert smiled. Next year became 5 years. 5 years became 10. And before I knew it, I was already 50 years old. Emma looked surprised. "Did you regret it?" Mr. Robert became quiet. "For many years. Yes. I regretted waiting." Emma asked, "What changed?" Mr. Robert looked through the window. "One morning, I met a tourist. He asked me a simple question." Emma waited. He asked, "Excuse me, where is the train station?" Emma smiled. "That's easy." "Yes. It is easy now. But back then, I couldn't answer. Not one word." Emma looked down. "I know that feeling. I've been there." Mr. Robert nodded. "I felt embarrassed. I wasn't embarrassed because I didn't know English. I was embarrassed because I had spent 25 years saying, I'll learn someday." Emma stayed silent. The coffee shop was still quiet. Only the sound of rain could be heard outside. Mr. Robert continued. "That afternoon, I went home. I sat at my kitchen table. I found an old notebook. And I wrote one sentence." Emma smiled. "What did you write?" Mr. Robert answered slowly. Today is better than someday. Emma repeated quietly. Today is better than someday. Mr. Robert smiled. Exactly. That sentence changed my life. Emma looked thoughtful. So you started studying? Yes. The very next day. Were you afraid? Very afraid. Why? Because I thought I was too old. Emma asked. And were you? Mr. Robert laughed. No. I was only late. Emma smiled. There is a difference. A very big difference. Emma looked at him. What was your first lesson? Mr. Robert laughed again. The alphabet. Emma laughed too. Really? Yes. I started with A, B, C. I learned simple greetings, simple questions, simple answers. I made mistakes every single day. Emma asked, Did that bother you? Mr. Robert shook his head. At first. Yes. I wanted to speak perfectly. But then, my teacher told me something. Emma looked curious. What? He said, Mistakes are proof that you are learning. Emma smiled. I like that. So did I. Mr. Robert continued. From that day, I stopped being afraid of mistakes. I started speaking. I started listening. I started reading. A little every day. Emma asked, How much did you study? Mr. Robert thought for a moment. About 20 minutes. Only 20. Yes. Some days. Only 10. Emma looked surprised. I thought successful people studied for hours. Mr. Robert smiled. Sometimes they do. But consistency is more important than intensity. Emma repeated slowly. Consistency. Mr. Robert nodded. If you study 20 minutes every day, you will learn much more than studying 5 hours once a month. Emma smiled. That makes sense. Mr. Robert looked at her kindly. Emma. Yes. Can I ask you another question? Of course. What do you do before you go to bed? Emma thought for a moment. I watch videos. I look at social media. Sometimes for an hour. Mr. Robert smiled. What if you used just 20 of those minutes to study English? Emma became silent. She looked at her coffee. Then she smiled. I never thought about it like that. Mr. Robert nodded. Small habits. Big results. Emma looked at him. I think. I've been waiting for the perfect moment. Mr. Robert smiled. There is no perfect moment. There is only this moment. Emma looked outside. The rain had stopped. For the first time that morning, she felt hopeful. Emma looked at Mr. Robert. I have another question. Mr. Robert smiled. I was expecting that. Emma laughed. When did you realize your English was improving? Mr. Robert thought for a moment. It wasn't one big moment. It happened little by little. Emma looked curious. What do you mean? One day, I understood one sentence. The next week, I understood two. A few months later, I understood an entire conversation. Emma smiled. That must have felt amazing. It did. But the best moment came later. What happened? Mr. Robert looked outside the window. About 2 years after I started learning, I received an email. Emma asked, from who? An international company. They were looking for someone with experience and someone who could speak English. Emma smiled. Did you apply? I almost didn't. Why? I thought, my English isn't good enough. Emma nodded. I've said that many times. Mr. Robert smiled. Most learners say that. So, did you apply? Yes. Were you nervous? Very. What happened during the interview? The interviewer smiled. He asked simple questions. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your goals? Emma smiled. Could you answer? Not perfectly. I made mistakes. I searched for words. I spoke slowly. Emma asked, did they mind? Mr. Robert shook his head. No. They were interested in something else. What? They wanted to see if I could communicate. Emma became quiet. So, they didn't expect perfect English. No. They expected honesty. They expected effort. Emma smiled. I think many people don't know that. Mr. Robert nodded. They wait until they think they are perfect. But perfection is not the goal. What is the goal? Communication. Emma repeated softly. Communication. Mr. Robert continued. A few days later, I received another email. Emma smiled. You got the job. Mr. Robert laughed. Yes. I couldn't believe it. How did your life change? I started meeting people from different countries. I listened carefully. I learned new words every day. I became more confident. Emma asked, were you still studying? Every single day. For how long? I still study. Emma looked surprised. Really? You still study English? Mr. Robert smiled. Of course. Learning never ends. Emma laughed. I thought teachers knew everything. Mr. Robert laughed too. The best teachers never stop being students. Emma stayed quiet for a few seconds. Then she asked, What is the biggest mistake people make when learning English? Mr. Robert answered without hesitation. They compare themselves to others. Emma nodded. I do that. I watch people speaking fluently. And I think, I'll never speak like that. Mr. Robert smiled kindly. Emma, do you know how a tree grows? She looked confused. Slowly. Exactly. You don't see it growing every day. But after 1 year, it is much taller. Emma smiled. So, learning English is like growing a tree. Exactly. You don't become fluent overnight. You grow little by little, word by word, conversation by conversation. Emma looked at her notebook. She opened it. She wrote one sentence, little by little. Mr. Robert smiled. I like that. Emma looked at him. I think. For the first time. I'm not afraid anymore. Mr. Robert picked up his coffee. He smiled. Good. Because now, the real learning can begin. Emma looked at Mr. Robert. Can I ask you something personal? Mr. Robert smiled. Of course. What is the biggest lesson life has taught you? Mr. Robert looked at his coffee for a few seconds. Then he smiled. I have learned many lessons. But 5 of them changed my life forever. Emma picked up her notebook. I'm ready. Mr. Robert laughed softly. I knew you would say that. Emma smiled. What is the first lesson? Mr. Robert answered. Never stop learning. Emma wrote it down. Why? Because the world never stops changing. If you stop learning, you stop growing. Emma nodded slowly. That makes sense. Mr. Robert continued. When I was young, I thought school was the end of learning. But I was wrong. School teaches you how to begin. Life teaches you every day. Emma smiled. So learning never ends. Exactly. Mr. Robert took another sip of coffee. The second lesson. Be patient. Emma looked at him. I find that difficult. I know. Young people want results quickly. Emma laughed. That's true. I wanted to speak English in 3 months. Mr. Robert smiled. And now I understand. Everything takes time. Mr. Robert nodded. A flower doesn't bloom in 1 day. A tree doesn't grow in 1 week. A language isn't learned in 1 month. Emma smiled. I like those examples. They are true. Mr. Robert continued. The third lesson. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Emma laughed. I make mistakes every day. So do I. Emma looked surprised. You still make mistakes. Mr. Robert smiled. Every week. Sometimes every day. Emma laughed. I thought teachers were perfect. Mr. Robert shook his head. No one is perfect. The only people who never make mistakes are the people who never try. Emma stopped writing. She looked at him. I'll remember that. Mr. Robert smiled. I hope so. He looked outside. The sun was beginning to appear. The rain had stopped completely. A few more customers entered the coffee shop. Emma prepared 2 coffees. She returned to the table. I'm sorry. I had to work. Mr. Robert smiled. Your work is important. Emma sat down again. What is lesson number 4? Mr. Robert answered immediately. Choose your friends carefully. Emma looked curious. What do you mean? Some people help you grow. Others make you stop. Emma nodded. I've noticed that. Mr. Robert continued. If someone laughs because you study, they are not laughing at your English. They are laughing at your dreams. Emma became quiet. I never thought about that. Mr. Robert smiled kindly. Protect your dreams. Spend time with people who encourage you. People who believe in you. Emma smiled. I think you're one of those people. Mr. Robert laughed softly. Thank you. Then Emma asked, and the 5th lesson? Mr. Robert became silent. For a few seconds, he simply looked out the window. Finally he spoke. The 5th lesson is the most important. Emma waited patiently. Mr. Robert looked into her eyes. Don't wait for motivation. Emma looked confused. I thought motivation was important. It is. But motivation comes and goes. Emma nodded. So what stays? Discipline. Emma wrote the word. Discipline. Mr. Robert smiled. Some days you will feel excited. You will want to study. But on other days, you won't. Emma laughed. That's me. Mr. Robert nodded. Exactly. The people who succeed, and not the people who always feel motivated. They are the people who continue, even when they don't feel like it. Emma closed her notebook. She smiled. I think I'm beginning to understand. Mr. Robert smiled back. No. Emma looked surprised. No. You are beginning to change. Emma became quiet. She looked at her notebook again. The first page was almost full. There were simple words, simple ideas, simple lessons, but somehow they already felt powerful. Mr. Robert finished his coffee. He looked at Emma. Are you ready for one final lesson? Emma smiled. I've been waiting for it. Mr. Robert smiled. Good. Because this lesson changed my life forever. Emma looked at Mr. Robert. You said there was one last lesson. Mr. Robert smiled. Yes. The most important lesson of my life. Emma closed her notebook. I'm listening. Mr. Robert looked outside the window. The sun was shining now. People were walking peacefully on the street. He smiled. When I was 60 years old, I visited another country for the first time. Emma smiled. Were you excited? I was. But I was also nervous. Why? Because I thought my English wasn't good enough. Emma laughed softly. You always say that. Mr. Robert laughed too. And every time I discover I was worrying for nothing. Emma smiled. What happened? I entered a small coffee shop. It looked very much like this one. Emma looked around. Really? Yes. A young waitress came to my table. She smiled and said, Good morning. What would you like today? Emma smiled. Were you able to answer? Yes. My English wasn't perfect. I made small mistakes. But she understood every word. Emma nodded. And then Mr. Robert smiled. We talked for almost 30 minutes. About life. About family. About dreams. Emma listened carefully. I realized something that day. What? English was never the real goal. Emma looked surprised. It wasn't. No. It was only the bridge. Emma repeated softly. The bridge. Mr. Robert nodded. A bridge to new people. A bridge to new opportunities. A bridge to new ideas. A bridge to a new version of myself. Emma became quiet. She had never thought about learning English that way. Mr. Robert continued. When I was young, I thought learning English would change my career. Emma asked, And did it? Yes, it did. But it also changed something much bigger. What? It changed my confidence. Emma smiled. I understand. I don't think you do. Emma laughed. Why? Because confidence doesn't appear overnight. It grows. Every time you learn a new word. Every time you understand a sentence. Every time you are brave enough to speak. Even if you make mistakes. Emma looked at her notebook. She slowly turned the pages. Only a few pages were filled. There were still many empty pages. Mr. Robert noticed. Do you see those empty pages? Emma nodded. Yes. What do they mean to you? Emma thought for a moment. They mean I still have a lot to learn. Mr. Robert smiled. I see something different. Emma looked at him. What do you see? I see possibilities. I see future conversations. I see future dreams. I see future victories. Emma smiled. I like that. Mr. Roberts stood up slowly. He put on his old brown coat. He picked up his book. Emma walked with him to the door. Before leaving, Mr. Robert stopped. Emma. Yes. I want you to promise me something. What is it? Learn one new thing every day. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can be one word, one sentence, one page, one conversation. But never stop. Emma smiled. I promise. Mr. Robert nodded. And one more thing. Emma laughed. I knew there would be one more thing. Mr. Robert smiled. Don't study English because you are afraid of your future. Emma looked curious. Then why should I study? Mr. Robert answered quietly. Study because you believe your future can be better. Emma felt tears in her eyes. She nodded. I will. Mr. Robert opened the door. The morning sunlight filled the coffee shop. Before walking away, he turned around one last time. Emma. Yes. 5 years from now, you will wish you had started today. So, start today. He smiled. Then he walked away. Emma watched him disappear down the street. She looked at her notebook. She opened the first empty page. At the top, she wrote today's date. Below it, she wrote one simple sentence. I will never stop learning. She smiled. Then she wrote her first English word of the day. And maybe that small word was the beginning of a completely new life. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you are learning English, remember this. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be consistent. Learn one word, one sentence, one conversation, every single day. And one day, you will look back and realize how far you have come. Now tell us in the comments, what new English word did you learn today? We would love to read your answer. See you in the next coffee conversation.